All right.
I'll say anything about it until we discuss it. I'll just go everything.
Okay, all right, good deal. All right, we're back in session at 8:12. Thank you to everyone who did decide to stay. But we did accomplish a lot in there.
What time did we go in there? I didn't write that time down.
I wrote 6:45.
Thank you.
6:45. I would like to make a motion regarding a discussion from the executive session that a document that we discussed be destroyed. Is that sufficient?
I think so, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Did you get that?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second that the document discussed in executive session be destroyed. I'm open for discussion, but since it was an executive session thing, I don't guess there's any discussion to be had here. With that said, we're going to do individual roll call vote. So again, the motion is that the document discussed in executive session is to be destroyed. Roll call, please.
Okay. Colleen Brown.
Yes.
Nancy Gray.
Yes.
Brad Cook.
No.
Vivian Lee.
Yes.
Paul Conley.
No. You got one down here.
Jan.
Jan Smith, I'm sorry.
No.
All right. That is a tie vote, so motion fails. All right. Where were we in our
Started in new business.
new business? Okay. Thank you. All right. First item A is Alpine Contracting. This was a laundry list of things that he had done. We had this last month and decided to table it because we weren't sure that some of the services had not already been paid. We could not locate where we had paid them. The last few payments to him were far too small to have been to have included those. They weren't on the invoice, and then I checked with him, and he said he had not invoiced those items previously. So, Alpine contracted for $695.
I'll make a motion to pay the bill.
I'll second that. That was Jan and myself. Any discussion about this bill?
I really thought that we had already paid for the mounting of the fire extinguishers. All of our fire extinguishers had already been mounted for well over at least a year. So why would he just now be billing us for that? He seems to be real quick with his, I would not say quick, I would say prompt with his billing when he performs a service. So I disagree with the fire extinguishers. They've all been mounted unless there's been a new fire extinguisher mounted that I'm unaware of.
Well, I know that he would certainly reimburse if we were to find something. The reason we got this invoice is because I knew we were mounting things up, and I called and asked for it. And he said, "You're right, I haven't billed you for the fascia on the cart barn, and then here's all this other stuff." So, any other discussion? Again, that's $695.
I have a couple of questions. One of them being the installing the faucet in the kitchen utility sink. And also, I guess, the fascia. Now, when the cart barn roof leaked and was repaired, we made a lot of repairs during that time, including the cart barn, the breezeway. So that fascia, I thought that anything that was rotten had been replaced at the time. So have some concerns about this. The other thing is that the amount that we approved to be spent for our services for this person per year was $2,000. And if we've already paid $1,350 for HVAC repairs, I don't know what else.
That's a
has
different
been
person.
paid. Don't know what else has been paid. I'm not sure that something like replacing the faucet should have been done until we knew what had been paid. Okay, so the $1350 was a different guy?
That's Alpine, I think that's Alpine Services, and this is Alpine Contracting.
Who was?
That's Mark Ray.
Mark was the HVAC guy. All right, so the HVAC guy, we have still never approved that bill. That $1,350 has never been approved. We were waiting for him to give us a written bill or receipt for the $830 motor.
Sure they have been paid.
It's been paid, it's never been approved. So we're still waiting on the receipt or bill for the part that was $830, and the other part of that was the warranty for the part.
Let me call him this week and see if I can get that. Ray.
And this thing about the gutter, like I said, I thought that had just been done. Has this?
No, it had not. And what we discovered when we went over to look at where it had come off, it was at a low spot, so it was gathering a lot of water there. And when the gutters were put on initially, they were not installed properly. They were inferior size nails that just went right into the end of the trusses. And as that got a little wet, it loosened up and it came off under the weight of the water. So that would not have been something that was expected and not something they would have looked at when they worked on the roof.
I don't want to not pay the guy if he did his work, but I'd like for somebody to take me out there and show me what we're talking about.
If you'll meet me out here after the meeting, I'll show you exactly what we did.
Can we do it in the day?
Meet me out here Wednesday. Thursday? Thursday. Just call me. We'll make it happen. Or any evening. I can meet you out here any evening after 5 o'clock. Any other discussion?
I'd like to know why he had to replace all the light bulbs when we have a maintenance person that does that.
This is the
This
maintenance
is the
person.
maintenance person.
Oh, okay. I'm getting my two confused again.
Yeah, that's okay.
Can
That's
we-
all right.
When we ask our maintenance guy to come by, for whatever reason, could he please fix this vent when the air cuts on and it rattles so bad?
Yeah,
Okay, thank
I
you.
will ask him to look at it. He was up here today.
When it kicks on, it's so loud.
Yeah, it is loud. All right, motion and second to pay the Alpine contracting bill. Any more discussion? All those in favor of paying the $695 signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed?
No,
The ayes have it, so ordered. B, system upgrade and replacement from Big Tech. That was a several $1,000 investment. What's the wishes of the council?
My motion is to table this until we get a budget. We have several months to do so.
I'll second that. Any discussion?
Is this something that can come out of capital?
I would think so. Any more discussion on that? The motion is that we table item B. All right. All those in favor of tabling item B signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries, so ordered. Thank you. We've got a bill from Tire Engineer for the transmission in the building inspector's vehicle, $163.48.
Hadn't we already done this? I mean, hadn't we already approved this?
I don't think so.
Is this something new?
We had,
It's not a repair, it's just an oil
this is
change.
just
Oh, okay, all right.
It's actually on the wish card.
Okay. I'm sorry, I was thinking that this was the repair of the...
oh, this is transmission service. This isn't the oil change. It's
It's
$163.
an oil change to the transmission.
Ah.
Okay. Gotcha. Transmission service. I got you.
Okay.
There it is.
So transmission fluid change?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, transmission fluid change.
And it's one of the older models. remodel, so they'll take the pan off and put a filter in it, and that's probably part of
There's your labor right there.
Labor involved in it.
I'll make a motion to pay that bill.
I'll second it. So that was Jan and myself.
Like George said, it's already been paid, it was on the card, though.
Yeah.
Or-
Okay. Hey. Any discussion on that? All those in favor of paying this bill, 163.48, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, so ordered. Next 21 renewal, and that's sort of misnamed. That would make you think that we're renewing the contract for next 21, and that's not what this is about. This is simply resecuring our .gov, which is set to expire January 14th of 2020. No, that's the wrong one.
November 9th.
November, what
9.
is it, 9th?
November
Yes.
9th.
Okay, yep, November 9th, there it is.
And it basically says you go on there to www.gov to view and arrange for payment of
Yep.
that renewal.
Right there on there, so it's not, this is not a next 21 renewal, this is renewing our .gov.
Well, it's gonna come due before we need it,
Yeah,
isn't it?
absolutely.
How much is it? We don't know.
It was fairly inexpensive to do initially. I was there when it was done the first time. And I mean, extremely inexpensive. It was less than $100 if I remember right.
I make a motion that we approve this renewal up to $150.
Okay. I'll second that. That was Tony and Paul. So the motion's been made that we approve the renewal of our .gov domain up to $150. Any discussion? All those in favor of renewing the .gov signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries, so ordered. 150. Somebody got time to do that? We'll get it done. I'll get it done.
I would assume you got to do it on credit card.
Yeah, probably, absolutely. All right, Rebuild Alabama, we've got that resolution. This resolution is going to allow us to set up the account that we must have in order for the money to be sent to us.
I've got it.
You gonna read it to us?
Sure. Resolution of Town of Lakeview, a municipal corporation. We, the town council for the Town of Lakeview, a municipal corporation, hereby certify that we are duly elected and qualified town council with the Town of Lakeview, Alabama, and the keeper of the records and municipal seal of said town, and that all the following is true and correct of a resolution duly adopted by Lakeview, Alabama on this day, blah, blah, blah. Be it resolved that the mayor and town council have directed the town clerk to establish a discrete bank account for the exclusive purpose of receiving disbursements from the Rebuild Alabama Tax Disbursement Funds. Funds deposited into the account may be used only for the purposes authorized under the Rebuild Alabama legislation. In witness thereof, I have hereunto affixed my name as Paul Calhoun, Mayor of the Town of Lakeview, a municipal corporation, and have caused the corporate seal of said municipality to be hereto affixed this date.
That's it.
Thank you.
I think we need to have a motion to begin with to suspend from the normal order of business and pass this resolution on the first reading.
I second the motion.
What's that?
You don't have to do that.
But we have to read it twice if
Yeah,
we
that's
don't.
just an ordinance.
Oh, good.
Okay,
On a resolution?
okay.
Okay. Good
I'll
thing.
strike
Way to-
that.
way to cover us there.
Okay, what's the number?
I don't know.
We'll have to get you the number. I do not know what the number is.
I don't know how your number convention is.
Well, it's a number and then the day, and today's date, but I don't know what the next number is.
Make a motion that we adopt this resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and second that we adopt this resolution as read. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of adopting this resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, so ordered. Thank you. That's signed tonight. All right,
And that needs to be followed through on with respect to the accounts.
yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. We struck F, was decided it was not necessary. All right, the West Alabama Mayor's Commission, I forget what exactly it's called.
Association.
Yeah, Jim, do you know any more about what they might be doing for us? I don't,
Is this the one through the West Alabama Planning?
no, this is not the one that we planned, no, but that
The
one
planning,
has
the one through
very-
the planning actually does some.
And it's minimal, it's like
Yes.
$75
I don't think
fee.
it's much of-
I'm not sure what this
I'm
one
not
does.
familiar with the mayor's
Well-
association.
Go ahead. We have a check that was issued on September the 20th. This is reading directly from the check.
Mhm.
Issued on September the 26th, for $777.20 and it's paid to the order of West Alabama Mayors Association. But what's also in the packet is an invoice from West Alabama Regional Commission to the town of Lakeview for year 2020 member dues, October 1st, 2019, September 30th, 2020. Now, that is the same amount,
Yes.
and the check
Same
number
address.
has been written, the same check number has been written on this invoice, so
It's
it
gotta be.
appears that it's already been paid. Did we mail it, or has it been held?
I don't, you can see who might have mailed it there. I did not mail it. Have we paid this in the past? I don't remember.
You probably played your planning commission views.
It's just sort of confusing.
It is confusing,
Which
the way it's
is-
called two
what
different
is it?
things.
Yeah, and the check is dated September 26th, but the invoice is dated October 1st.
There shouldn't be two charges.
What's the first letter? That's October
The
1st.
address is
This
the
is
same.
What's the check?
I mean, the
Address is
PO
the
box
same.
is the same, even though one is called West Alabama Regional Commission and the other one is West Alabama Mayors Association.
How about we table this and see if we can find out more about it, including whether or not the check has been mailed? Then we can find out what services.
Can't imagine the check not having been mailed, but,
Oh, wow.
from September 26th. All right.
Somebody's alarm's going
It's
off.
mine. I'm sorry, it's a minute.
So, would you make a motion to table G?
Yeah, let's table this and get some more information.
I'll second it. Any discussion on tabling G? All those in favor of tabling this to a later time signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, so ordered. All right, H is gonna take some research too. I wish I would have brought this up in the executive session. There's another approach that I want to take with this. Do y'all want to pay any portion of this bill and hold out the other? I believe the amount may be a little bit different. But they would certainly work with us if we paid them too much. And
Okay, I will express what I had done. I took the tickets that were in the packet supplied by the clerk, and I put them in a spreadsheet. And they totaled up $534, just $534. But after I sorted them by date, I noticed that one page of the tickets we had were duplicate, which was $132. So the adjusted amount would have been $402. But we didn't have any backup for those tickets, so I came over here today, and Tanya made a phone call to Casey and asked him, did he have his copies of his tickets? He told her where they were. I'm assuming they were in the car. Were they in his car?
Yes, ma'am.
She went and got tickets out of his car, and the tickets that could be matched to what DJs had sent us is $234.50.
Say that amount again, 200?
$234.50.
Okay,
So my recommendation would be to pay the $234.50 because we have, you know, documentation and duplicate tickets, you know, backup tickets for that amount. From Casey's car and from what DJ sent us. I also looked at Casey's timesheets. He did work on the days that these tickets were, that the gas was put in the car.
of the 234.50.
Yes.
You want to make that a form of a motion?
So I will make a motion that we pay DJs $234.50.
I'll second that motion. But the motion is that we pay DJs $234.50. Keep in mind, this is only a portion of the amount that might be due. This is the amount that we can confirm, and we're going to research and confirm on the other. So again, $234.50 to DJs. Any discussion? All those in favor of making this payment signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, so ordered.
That being said, why does Casey not have a WEX card? We don't need to be having this problem. He is an employee, even though he is only a part-time employee. Why doesn't he have a WEX card? A WEX
One was
card.
never issued
Well,
by the former clerk.
I think that needs to be resolved. He needs WEX. My opinion, he needs a WEX
I think
card.
we've got a couple in there to spare, so we can certainly do that.
So I make a motion, we issue Casey a WEX card.
I'll second it.
If we need a motion, we'll make it. All right, we got a motion and second to issue a WEX card to Casey Edmonds for use in his patrol car when he's here working for Lakeview. Any discussion? You tell me when you caught up with me. You're a fast writer, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries, so ordered. All right, we got the bill from Peyton Cochran for property tax. This is the small parcel of property out here behind Town Hall. We should be able to work our way out of it next year and get immunity from it, but this time we do owe a prorated amount of $57.60. I make a motion that would pay the $57.60 to Peyton Cochran, tax assessor.
I'll second.
The motion is that we pay the $57.60 for the property tax on the property behind Town Hall. Any discussion? All those in favor of making this payment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries, so ordered. Next item is ammo for Eddie. This is 500 rounds of 9mm that is needed so that he can certify as an instructor and continue to be able to qualify our people and not have to pay them and qualify elsewhere. The only cost of this would be the cost of the ammo, and that is estimated to around $150.
I'll make a motion to approve the $150 for the rounds for his recertification.
I'll second it. That was Jen and Paul. That was 500 rounds, is that right?
Yes.
Any discussion?
I will not support purchasing any additional ammunition until we get an inventory of the ammunition that we currently have.
Any other input from the council? All right, just to reiterate, motion is to pay the up to $150, thank you, for the 500 rounds of 9mm ammo for his recertification. All those in favor of making this payment signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed?
No.
All right, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Tommy Burton,
No.
Nancy Ray,
No.
Vivian Leland,
No, not until we have an inventory.
Brad Cook,
Yes.
Dan Smith,
Yes.
Tommy Terry.
Yes. Motion fails.
It's real loud when it comes on and the trains come.
Yeah, at the same time.
All right, final in the new business section is the noise ordinance. And owing to its length, I will make a motion that we just received it tonight. Let's table it and read over it, digest it, and bring it back next month. That's my motion.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Again, the motion is that we table the noise ordinance until next month. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it, so ordered. Thank you.
Just for information, was this kind of copied from somebody else's?
I think this was the one that Jim's had in the back.
Okay.
Is this the one that Vance put in?
So,
Similar? Okay. Department business. George, yes, George.
Well, as we talked about last month, our last council meeting, where we had brought in approximately $50,000 for building permits and license fees. Since then, we've brought in an additional $16,000 for additional permits and fees and licensing that we're running through. My vehicle's been in the shop. Nancy asked me to bring it up to everybody, let them know what was going on, that my vehicle was in the shop. And they determined that it was not bearing its tire. The tires are the wrong type of rubber, and they're causing them to wear uneven, and that's what's causing the racket. And so I'm going to be taking it back to warranty, and hopefully they're going to warranty the work of the tires. So hopefully no more cost. The guy that checked the car out, he's not going to charge us anything for checking the car out. They pulled it up, put the tires off, rotated them around to try and ease the stress on the front end, and so we can continue to, so just being aware that there's a possibility that we might have to get more tires, but we're going to try and get them to warranty those tires that are there to save that cost. And then also, I had a meeting yesterday in Tuscaloosa in reference to the census, and we were able to get enough data to them with addresses, lot numbers, and future developments and stuff that we already got on the ground. With Tanya helping me pull some of the old files so that we can back up from the Clark Barn and get that information together and take it as well to Tuscaloosa. And they have enough information now, so when we missed that deadline that we sent out Nancy, they sent me an email telling me that we were beyond the deadline, and but Tuscaloosa had filed for an extension, so I had to take my information to Tuscaloosa to get with their mapping company or their mapping department. We were able to add our stuff to theirs, and we will get that house count with this 2020 census. So,
Thank you, George. Any questions for George?
Where are you with the project to get the maps replaced or updated or whatever? Still working on that?
Peggy's supposed to be bringing that to the council, requesting funds to get either the Western Planning Commission folks to get involved to try and get current boundary limits, and that would also give us the update with showing on the maps that the Dollar General's been annexed in, and that we get some accurate boundary lines, so that when the mapping system or when they request maps from the census within the next 2 to 3 months, we'll be able to give them hopefully accurate boundary lines. Once we get that accurate boundary lines, then we can turn around and compare it to the zoning maps, and then the planning commission can actually get an updated zoning map as well as an updated boundary limit, and that will also help us with the census that will forward information to with that information goes out, and then the taxes and things that we would receive from power bills, phone bills, cable TV, things like that, the utilities that pay franchise fees and stuff to the town, that will be more accurate and hopefully go up and not down. And as with that, and then of course, obviously, hopefully, now that we're with the clerk, we can start working on showing her how to send those permits and stuff in, and we can get back on track with that, because right now we've lost money and won't start gaining it back until next October. So that money's lost for another year.
Thank you, George.
Thank you. If the council will permit me, we left off an L that we discussed in the executive session in new business, the last thing that we discussed just before we walked out.
Oh, yeah.
I want to make a motion that in light of, we've always tried to incentivize the people who have to do their regular job and step over and train a new employee. And this week, Tanya has really gone out of her way to help Crystal with a number of large projects and just general training while she carried out her police clerk duties. I make a motion that we provide Tanya with a straight bonus of $150 as a thank you for helping with Crystal's training.
Didn't we say $1.98?
That's what we said, but I tried to fudge it a little bit.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and second that to pay the amount of $150 to Tanya Cat for
I think we need to call that a one-time pay raise.
a one-time pay
Pay raise.
pay raise. Okay, we're calling it a one-time
I think we're prohibited.
Pay. raise. Okay, thank you for that.
That's why you have to be.
Did you fix that in the motion?
Got it.
All right. So, any discussion on that? All those in favor of this one-time pay raise to Tanya for $150 signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries, so ordered.
Let's do the other one too.
Yeah, we need to do the other, return Carol's to her normal pay.
Okay, yes, we have an M as well. You want to take care of that motion for me? Because
That would be in accordance with your earlier agreement.
yes.
Yes.
That
Yes.
once the regular clerk was appointed, that Carol would revert to her
Original.
normal job duties and pay,
Okay.
I'll make the motion, we return Carol to her regular duties and pay.
as of some.
As of, what is Monday?
October 15th, 14th.
Okay, as of October the 14th.
Are we going to pay her for this week when she hasn't been here?
I think we probably need to do that.
I don't know that we can back it up.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Make the motion again because I talked all over it. I'm sorry.
Return Carol Buchanan's to her normal job and normal rate of pay effective October the 14th.
Which is in accordance with her conditional
Yeah,
appointment.
in accordance with
Her conditional appointment,
her
this temporary
conditional
service.
appointment.
All right. You made that motion. Who seconded it?
I do.
All right.
That's
Nancy?
October the 14th.
Vivian, yes. All right, the motion is that we return Carol to her original rate of pay in compliance with the agreement when we gave her the incentive pay. This would mean that she returns to her normal rate of pay on October 14th, 2019. Is there any discussion?
And job duty.
And job duties, that's correct. There be no discussion, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor of returning her to her normal rate of pay, October 14th, 2019, and her normal job duties, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries, so ordered. I think that's the last one of
There's
those.
got an end too for what he said about sending y'all to the voting training.
Absolutely.
Is that right? Does it have to be
Yeah.
on this?
We have some voting training coming up, and I wish I had that date here with me, but we do need
Prove expenses for the required,
Prove
these are
expenses.
required training,
for the required training for the
election workers.
election workers, which are typically the mayor if he's not running again, and the town clerk, such is the case.
Mayor designates the election.
So is this just whatever the fee is for the training, or is there
It's
travel?
an out-of-town thing, there's gonna be travel.
Yeah, it's
It's a week-long
It's a long
deal.
ordeal.
When is it?
It's either the first week in November or the first week in December, but I can't remember.
Can we just go ahead and make reservations and then bring it back with the actual,
Well, you need to sign up for
prices?
school though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead and make those reservations.
I would say that at this time, authorize the payment of
The enrollment.
the reasonable and necessary expenses related to attending this required
So
training.
secure the class spot and secure a place to,
And
the
you may
spot
have-
to stay
You may have
wherever
to
they're
pay it in
teaching.
advance.
Okay. All right, and then bring anything else back to the council, okay?
What he says.
For the mayor and clerk,
Yes, for the mayor and clerk. So, the motion being made is that, that I be granted permission to secure the, spot in the training courses for myself and the clerk, as well as accommodations for myself and the clerk, and then any remaining charges would come back to the council at a later date. That will get our spots held.
Right.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, I made the motion, Tony seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of that motion, signify by saying aye. Those opposed?
that is with meals.
Well, no.
We're not there yet. All we're securing right now is,
If
it
it's,
doesn't have we didn't say a rental car or
if it's
any of that
first
stuff.
week of November, though, it's gonna be before our next meeting.
Yes, right on the corner, it's the first week of November. I can tell y'all what the date is before we leave this room. I have the printout. I don't suppose there was an O that I forgot about too, was there?
Not yet.
Okay, let's move on. Thank you for allowing me to revert back to our new business. Now we're back to Chief Eddie Frederick, Police Department.
For the month of September, we had 5 arrests off warrants, 1 seizure, 43 calls in corporate limits, 8 calls in police jurisdiction, 4 calls out of the jurisdiction, 2 domestic violence calls, 1 driving under the influence, 1 felony case, 14 innocent offense reports taken. We drove 4,089.9 miles, had 12 outside agency assists, 2 traffic accidents, 10 traffic citations, 11 traffic stops, 5 warrants checked, and 5 warrants served.
Any questions for the chief?
I just have one, Chief.
What's that?
I was informed that we had some items missing out of the cart barn. Has there been any kind of report filed or anything like that?
Nobody's provided me with a list of items yet that's missing.
Okay.
Once somebody provides me with a list, I'll be more than happy.
Okay, you know, we need to get a dollar value on that, find out what has disappeared, do some kind of investigation, and if need be, turn something into the insurance company.
I walked around out there, and there's those 2 desks that we pulled out of here, but what other desks were in there? I can't see, it's all been moved around, but I can't see what's missing. There's so much junk out there.
I've looked also, and I can't tell what's missing.
Do you know, Nancy?
I did not know what's missing.
Okay. But that is something that needs attention if we can verify what's missing. We certainly can't. We're going to have somebody that knows what was out there. There's a whole lot of stuff out there that needs to be missing, but it needs to be the right way for sure. Any other questions for the chief? There is no court report, no town clerk report at this time. Attorney, Jim,
My activities are all itemized.
you said you were going to elaborate on the noise ordinance a little bit for us.
Yeah, I can briefly explain that.
Okay, please.
This is an ordinance similar to the one that we did for Vance. Chief Frederick submitted one, and I sort of added a little bit to it to include a little more penalty. But what this does, of course, the first part of it just defines the terms. It does, as the chief pointed out, requires to have a device to measure the sound, which I think is reasonably inexpensive nowadays. At the device, it sets out the sound levels that are violations in various zones, the residential districts, and then the other areas. And then it sets out, and these sound levels are the generally accepted levels that it's hard to describe what 80 decibels is, but it's loud. And then it sets out a number of exceptions. Obviously, emergency and public vehicles, police can use the siren. Public works job, you can run your backhoe if you need to. Authorized activities, and this would be events, parades, fireworks displays, so forth that the town authorizes. Sirens, horns, and whistles where they're appropriate. Church bells and chimes. Burglar alarms, they go off. Construction activity equipment, and it has some limitations on that, but obviously you can do that. Construction, vessels, I don't think we have any navigable waterways through.
All we got is
We
trains.
have lots of lakes.
But if you go around a navigable waterway there, those vessels are loud. And then motor vehicles and trains, of course, trains make a lot of noise. Commercial vehicles make a lot of noise sometimes, so they,
Jake breaks.
yes, but that's a separate, I don't know if we have a Jake break ordinance or not, but
I don't think so.
most towns do. And then it has kind of a catch-all provision, and then enforcement and penalties. And the penalties are fines unless they're continue to do it, then it costs you jail time. It's pretty standard. The law enforcement would have to get some sort of acceptable little device. I know we just downloaded some on the phones that passed the technical standard, and they were like $3 or $4 or nothing, and you push you could buy freestanding devices. So if you have, as a practical matter, if you have offenders who can be identified, most of your offenders on noise ordinance are one time long and off when you get to them. But if you have repeat offenders, this allows you to take some quantitative measurements and then give them one if you want to, and then give them a citation. And then if they keep doing it, you can actually get a jail time.
Jim, the one thing that I was curious about is in the very first thing it says that the council authorizes the magistrate for the town to impose regulations.
Right,
The magistrate?
right.
Meaning the court magistrate.
Court magistrate, right.
Any other questions for Jim? Fantastic. Thank you, Jim.
And those, if I didn't explain.
Thank you, Jim. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Those noise levels are arbitrary, but they were pulled from some standards
Yeah.
that are set out in.
And, we were gonna go with the audible levels, just for, finance sake, but I'm glad we can find some cheap, some inexpensive, equipment that will do that for us. Thank you again.
Yes.
Old and unfinished business, awning upstairs. What's the council's wish there?
Table for budget. Is it getting worse? Is it getting...
Raining too much.
It really is.
Had Raymond do that's a good point.
Was that a motion?
Yes, please.
I'll second it. All those in favor of tabling this until a later time, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Sewer septic issues, we still have not received the documents that we're waiting on from Keith. So there's nothing to do there at this time. Discussion on that? Anybody got anything to say?
Does George have anything to add to it?
Yeah, George, anything to add?
Contacted Keith and gave him a list of sinks and toilets and floor sinks for him to use to have a discussion with the sewer provider. And he hasn't got back with me. He just sat down and go over health department permit to create a scope of work yet.
Thank you.
Now, I know last month there was some discussion about, that the sewer was still in the picture. I hope everybody had an opportunity to view the video of our April meeting where this council voted to move forward with the septic tank in no uncertain terms, with no consideration to the sewer. And it can be replayed by simply going to my Facebook page. It is the recording of this meeting in that month. So I have no intention of considering sewer moving forward based on the vote that we've already taken. Reports of special committees and boards of council. P and Z.
Yes, I do have something. I need money.
Get some, give me some.
Planning and zoning would, are requested up to $1,000 for updated maps showing the accurate,
You want to get away from that?
no, you're leaving on that, showing the accurate corporate limits.
And that's the map basically that George was talking about earlier.
Right. That's going to be wow.
Yep. All right. You don't always see that, it's very short. very brief.
Make a motion.
I'll make,
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to allow, planning and zoning to spend up to $1,000 for the mapping of the corporate limit.
I'll second. So that was Jan and Paul. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of allowing P and Z to spend up to $1,000 to get these needed maps, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Buy those maps.
And we will be meeting the 28th at 7 o'clock. And we've got a final plat coming up.
28th at 7 o'clock. Thank you. 7 p.m. Thank you. Budget and finance, I don't think we have a report tonight. There's a report from Gus. Let's go back to it. A report? Okay. Police relations? No?
Thank you.
Activities committee? No. We didn't have to write you in this time. You're actually on the agenda.
Cool.
Board of Adjustments, do you have a report?
We have nothing going on at this time.
And he's finally away.
Ma'am?
And he's finally away. Paying attention.
All right, y'all, this brings us down to, I don't know how we'll do this section without Mike Fisher here, public input. Y'all know the routine. Once you're recognized, just state your name, where you live, and then you'll have the time to say what's on your mind.
Mr. Mayor,
Chief.
I'd like to ask our attorney, Mr. Standridge, a question, please. Mr. Standridge,
He's listening, I can tell by the look on his face.
I understand that you were appointed to represent the accused that killed an officer in Tuscaloosa a few weeks ago.
Don't believe he's going to answer that question.
Well, I was watching TV the other night, saw your picture on news, and they stated that you were representing him. And I just want to let you know, it's a slap in the face to any police officer that you may represent for any of the cities or towns that you represent. I take offense to it. I can't speak for the rest of my police officers, but if you ever have the occasion to represent me, you won't. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else?
I've got two things.
Yes,
Cheryl Levy, 12673 Brownway. Number one, I was wondering how the GUSC loan payback was coming. I reviewed some films from about 2 years ago and sort of remember that maybe some of the money was returned, but at interest at 7.5%, and some people on the panel said that they should hold bake sales, but for sure the money need to be paid back. So just general, how's it coming?
Did we get some of it back? I didn't think so. I didn't think any of it had been returned.
No, I didn't have a turn.
Can the unused portion be returned?
We had received a bill and he requested the balance, and it was not returned.
And that case is still ongoing.
And the case is gone.
So, the answer is the money's spent, and does that sound like there's a
And
plan?
interest is accruing,
That's right.
and there's no payback plan at this time. Even though on the film, the previous lawyer kind of said that maybe one should be in place after 90 days, but
Our plan has not been put in place at this time.
yeah, okay. The other thing is, what's with all the crickets in here? There's dead crickets, they're all over the
place.
place.
That in
It's
in my
nasty.
statement.
The crickets have, they moved in after they tore out all these woods over here, and the guy came in and sprayed, we came in and we got most of them up. Yeah. Along with some larger critters, I will say. But, yeah, it's a mess, and the cleaning service is coming in next week after court, as they have done for so long, but we have not had a thorough cleaning in 2 months, I think. So,
Yeah.
yeah, lots of crickets. Anybody else? Okay. With that, we will start with council input, and we'll start at the end of the table with Jan.
I want to thank all of y'all for coming out, and I want to, not just as a council person, but as a citizen, I want to thank our police officers for them doing their jobs, because I don't think we all realize what they do. And I just happened to personally witness a couple of things, and I really appreciate them putting forth the effort that they do when, especially when people are going through very hard times, and things could have changed way differently for people, but they came in and was able to make a positive result instead of something horrible. And due to the fact it was one of my friends, I just really appreciate everything that they do. Stopping to help a grandmother with her grandchild and needs gas, and flashing their lights just so nobody hits them after dark. Those are the things we forget. We think about them writing tickets. We think about them working accidents. But I want to thank you for treating people as people that are here in our community, and I really appreciate it. So I've seen it in action a lot in the last 2 weeks. So I want to say thank y'all guys for doing y'all's job, and I appreciate y'all very much.
Thank you, Jan. Tony.
I think when it comes to patriots, I'm right on up there. I come from a military background and a law enforcement background. I firmly believe in that flag on there and a document that founded this country in, I think about 1787, and it starts with "We the People." It is called the Constitution of the United States of America. That Constitution has an entire section in there about legal representation. And people are, by Constitution, given access to legal representation. There are some attorneys that are appointed by the court to represent people that they may or may not agree with. They are appointed, they do their duty, they follow the law and the letter of the Constitution. In the case of the gentleman that has been, I won't say gentleman, in the case of the man that has been accused of assassinating a police officer, me personally, I hope that he gets everything that is coming to him, and I hope and believe that he will have quality legal representation, and that when it's all said and done and he is sentenced, that he will not have cause for years and years and years of appeals because he had an absolutely know-nothing attorney who was representing him. So I appreciate people stepping up to the plate to do difficult, unpleasant work. And that being said, I do hope that those that serve and protect will be careful, and that God will be with you every minute of the day. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Let's keep rolling. Nancy.
Well, I like how you said that. We were just talking about the crickets. I had also noticed the crickets, and I had jotted down some notes. And then, Paul, you had mentioned that the cleaning service is coming in. Is our cleaning service back? I mean, is it, or do we need to make a motion to post bids for a new cleaning service? Because this is atrocious. We had someone rent the building on Saturday, and
These crickets were here when they were here, not
yeah, I mean, I want to call the people and ask them how, you know, how they found everything, was everything okay, but I'm kind of afraid to, because I don't want them to say, y'all have a nasty building. But I feel like we need to touch base with them anyway. But do we need to make a motion to have a new cleaning
I
service?
have a cleaning service coming in that's gonna do it this time for the amount we've been paying. If y'all want to post bids, we can certainly do that. It'll be cleaned this time by this crew because it's just next week. But yes, we can certainly take bids, or y'all can wait and see how this person does. It's not easy to find somebody that will do it for $150. That's the trick. You remember the last cleaning service wanted $175, and that's sort of why they ended up going on and leaving.
Well, I mean, we can always go ahead and get the specs ready to post the bids.
Sure.
And whoever you have cleaning, just give them an option to do
I'm all for
so.
it. I'm all for it.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion that we set a bid sheet for a new cleaning service, advertise for a new cleaning service. And I believe the way we did it before, we didn't put a price tag on it. We just told them what we needed cleaned, and they told us what they would do it for. Is that correct?
That's it.
Yep, that's what we did.
Right. So I'll make a motion, we get a bid sheet up for and post for a new cleaning service.
I'll second that. You got time to put the sheet together?
I would.
Okay, thank you. So the motion's been made and seconded that we, Tony, we've made a motion and second that we have someone coming in to do the cleaning next week, but we're going to include them in this offer. We're going to put together a bid sheet with the things that we want done and take bids on hiring a more permanent cleaning service. Nancy has volunteered to put the bid sheet together. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Yes, please clean the building.
Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay. One other thing, we had mentioned an issue with cart barn. We had addressed this several months back, but it has not gotten done. So I'd like to put a motion on the floor to inventory every item in the cart barn and divide it up into what is considered town property, building inspection property, what might be considered police department property, and then what's considered evidence. We have got to do something out there, so we know if something comes up, if it's broken into, we know what's missing. Without an inventory, that can't happen. So I'd like to put a motion on the floor that we do that and it be done, no later than, I don't know if we can do it by the November meeting or not, but at least by the end of November.
Who's going to do the inventory?
Well, Tanya would know what's police department property. I've come over here before and attempted to do a little bit of cleaning and sorting, but it was so hot that day, Mr. Bean and I were here doing so, but I don't mind volunteering, either on a Friday or Saturday to do so again. But there needs to be, at least a couple employees here that know
What their stuff is.
can identify their stuff. I mean, George knows what he may have put out there or what is out there that would be identifiable as building inspection stuff. You know, he may have an hour or so here or there to do so.
Did you get a
start off? Okay.
Okay.
Did you get a second yet?
No.
I'll second. All right, the motion is that that we begin the process of organizing, inventorying the contents of the cart barn, so that not only we know what we've got, what we can throw away, and what may have been stolen. Is there any discussion?
One suggestion I might make that I've heard from multiple insurance companies is that just having a video or photographic record. I mean, we forget what we buy. If you walk through your house every now and then and take a picture of some things, you know, if there's a fire damage, water damage, something like that, you've got a record of what you own. So that may be, yeah, that may
Picture,
that may
video.
They help you identify who's completed.
Yeah, maybe a way to start.
But I mean, last time I was out there, it is a mess, very disorganized. You know, it needs some
The
attention.
dog food brought rodents in, the dog food that was being gathered for the charity. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries, so ordered. I would also like to remind everyone that that building, when this building is armed, that building arms. So in order for someone to get in there to steal anything, it would either have to be during hours when this building is open or someone has a code. The codes here turn off that alarm. You can turn them off and on separately, but the only box that you can do that from is in here. You can't go to that building and disarm it. So,
I'd like to mention what I just passed out is an email from the town clerk to the chief and the mayor regarding the missing items. It's dated September the 25th, and it is an inventory of the items that appear to be missing.
I've never been furnished anything.
I'll pass you a copy.
it notes 3 to 4 desks, filing cabinets, a glass showcase, bookcases, and 15 to 20 brown chairs. So I know there's some filing cabinets out there. Owned by a showcase. The desks that are out there now are the new desks that we moved out from these offices. So we have a list now.
Mayor, does Don Brooks still have his garage?
There's stuff out there from Don that belongs to Don Brooks.
Well,
yes.
we need to notify him to come and get his stuff.
Yeah, there's still quite a bit. All of that that's just inside the doors on his. All right, we're still under mayor and council input. Nancy, do you have anything else? Brad.
I don't have anything.
Ms. Bean.
I'd like to state that I appreciate your prayers for my daughter-in-law. Her cancer is passing. She's getting a lot better. She still has spinal problems, but praise God. Thank you for your prayers.
Thank you for that good news, Vivian. That's great. Thank everybody for coming out and staying with us. This was a long meeting tonight. I want to reassure everyone that that particular executive session, there was not any wasted time. That was something that needed to be done. It seems like we go in there all the time. That needed to be talked about there, and it was fruitful. Again, I'd like to thank everybody for being here and the hard work that everybody does to keep us moving forward. Especially appreciate Crystal and the way she's jumping in with both feet and sort of jumped in the fire without knowing she was going to this week. But that will get better as well. With that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.